Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Connected Mental Health. Of course, it's Wellness Wednesday. Pete Bombachi will not be joining me tonight. He is taking care of his young boy, Jake. They are on the ice. So I thought tonight would be a night that I could do a tribute to my sister. It'll be a short show, but I think it's important if people know my situation and along with my sister, what had transpired. My beautiful sister was with us far too short. So, in memory of my sister, Karen Leslie Goulet, born February 11th, 1963, passed 2 years ago today. Far too young, far too young. And I want to do, obviously, a tribute to her, saying that we all lose things in our life. We all lose our parents. Uh, Normally, you don't lose a sibling that's younger than you, especially a female. As we know, males usually go sooner than the females. And I lost my sister at an age that she still had so much life. She wanted to live, but unfortunately, life brought her many trials and tribulations. So tremendous a person, all the attributes a person could want. Very successful, very intelligent, well read, very well respected, very funny girl, very witty. But at 40, unfortunately, she fell into a postpartum and began a life of drinking and drugs that took away her two beautiful children. Her marriage was already a little bit on the rocks, but certainly ended it. And unfortunately, she did not see her kids after that time. The legal system did a very good job in keeping her away from her children. And I think that's what really ended her hope of living. So, in memory of my sister, I want to say this. She always idolized me. She always looked up. She thought I was always doing something great. But you know what? It was me that was inspired by her. So intelligent, so beautiful, so articulate, so passionate. She was a designer. She was a creator. She could write. She could read. She could do everything that I wasn't really good at. I got great at playing sports. She got great of being a fine human being. A lot of people look at her at the end of her life and said she died an alcoholic. No, my sister didn't die an alcoholic. She passed away from the fact that we as a society still can't and have not figured out mental health issues that use alcohol, drugs, addiction as a coping mechanism. My sister never woke up one day and said, "Listen, I want to drink myself to death. I want to die on a bed, far too young, not see my kids." Uh, she never had that in her mind. Unfortunately, when the alcohol took hold, you know what? Donna McCarthy, I want to say hello to you if you're watching. How beautiful you were to my sister. One of the greatest gifts you gave me was this. I want you to watch this. This is a piece out of a documentary that Donna McCarthy is going to put together. It's been a while. We've been talking about it, but she's got such great film about my sister and her trials and tribulations. And what's important about this little clip for all of you that are watching, it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your sexual orientation. Mental health, addiction attacks us all when we least expect it. And what it does is it transforms a life that you become complacent in. And you'll watch this film. We had Stephen Morris on a few weeks ago. And one of the things that he said is loneliness is what drives a lot of addiction. And when you think about it, even though you've got lots of people around you, you still can be lonely. So it's so important to understand those people that are around you that are seemingly disconnected and they're your loved ones. Don't pass judgment. Be an ear. Help. Listen. 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 Losing my sister was one of the hardest things. Obviously, I'd lost my mother a year earlier. Very traumatic. Lost my sister, and then 36 hours later, my wife lost her mother. And a couple days later, Donna McCarthy lost her beautiful mother. Losses to all of us. It's how we grieve, and it's how we leave that grieving process and what we do afterwards. I always said that I will do something good for my sister. I'm not here to paint a bad picture about her. I want you to understand. I want you to understand the human mind, a mind that was so talented. She was she launched Lexus Canada. So the car company, that's how good she was in the advertising agency. When T. Eaton's closed up its doors, she was the communication officer. She was unbelievable what she did. From that to a person that was homeless and on a street up in North Bay coming out of a clinic. She was on a home. She was homeless here in Toronto. I learned this afterwards. Somebody that had everything, millions of dollars, lived in some of the finest houses in Rosedale on Blythewood. Friends, so many friends, and a lot of friends that were close to her could only say beautiful things, even though she did some very harmful things herself. I can remember getting a phone call from a restaurant. And addicts use everything in their means to get that next drink or to get that next fix. My sister would, on many occasions, decide that she wanted an extra drink, didn't have any money, so she'd sell her cell phone to the bar and use it as ransom until somebody came and paid that bill. And I did that many times. Laptops were a big one for my sister. And I can say this in laughter because her and I talked about it many times while she was going through her final stages. We laughed, we cried, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed because I had the opportunity to watch this beautiful person go through the trials and tribulations. And on her deathbed, her final words were, "Please give my love to my two young children and apologize profusely." I've yet to be able to do that, but I will. Unfortunately, we're disconnected for whatever reasons. The Father has chosen to keep me apart from these two beautiful children. But someday I will be able to tell them how beautiful and wonderful their mother was. I I followed my sister to Toronto. A lot of people don't know that. Everybody thinks that I went over to Europe and played pro hockey and decided to come back. I should have gone back to Winnipeg, but I decided to stay in Toronto. And the reason was because my sister had moved here at a young age. My parents still in Winnipeg. I had lots to stay in Winnipeg for, but my sister and I were two peas in a pod. We loved each other more than anything. My brother, I can remember days where my brother and I couldn't find a goalie, so we'd pick her and suit her up in catalogs, Eaton's catalogs, true story. Get her a chest pad, give her two hockey gloves and two baseball gloves, and we would take shots, perfecting our scoring, as she would put it. And she was a gamer. She did it. She was unbelievable. But I want to tell you one story before I let you go. I wanted to keep this short, but I wanted to keep it beautiful. She was more than beauty, inside and outside. She would walk into a room and light the room up. She would be the life of the party, with or without alcohol. People gravitated to her because she was always smiling and always looking at you and saying, "God, Gooch, your hair looks good," even though it didn't. "Hey, you may lose your teeth, but the other ones are beautiful." That was my sister, an incredible, incredible human being. I got a call to pick up one of her cell phones. It was on Yonge Street at a bar. I came into the bar and I said, "Listen, I've had a call. My sister has had a little bit too much drink. She has a bar tab here. I know you've got her laptop. How much the bill? X." I said, "Here's the money. Where is she?" "Oh, she just left. I think she's outside." And as I walked outside, there she was laying in the middle of Yonge Street as cars drove by and back and forth. I picked her up, got her off the street. As a brother, I was embarrassed. As a brother, I was hurt. As a brother, I was crying. And yet later in our life, we could laugh about it. It's nothing to laugh at. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But the fact that this girl had more than 9 lives was amazing. And in her final days, here's a video that was shot that explains a tremendous amount.
Because I think that, what I've done is made it really simple to people that, well, she's just a drunk or she's just an alcoholic. And so what happens in that process is you get dehumanized. But I really am just a person trying to find my way, and I've gotten lost in the process. And I think now I come back to the word reclaim. Like, I want to find me, and that's outside of what anyone else thinks about me. And that alone there's a whole dose of loneliness in all of that, because I've had a relationship with alcohol for so long that it's crazy, the duality. It's the only thing that doesn't let me down. I know that if I drink today, that I won't have to think about the fact I haven't held my daughter's hand for 6 years. I know I won't have to think about that. But I guess what I'm trying to do right now is step up and say, and not just for my kids. This is not just about my children anymore. It's about my next step is death. And, coming close to that, I've stood in front of a subway so many times and said, you know what? This must be the answer, because nothing else seems to work. But I guess my theory is, if I don't give up on me, then I don't give up on me. And it's that simple, which is why I'm, with a certain amount of shame, going to rehab again, being asked the question, what's going to be different this time? And, the truth is I really don't know what's going to be different this time. Excuse me. I just know that it's necessary, I guess, as simple as I can make it, right?
Whew. Gorgeous. Incredible. 2 years after that incredible video that Donna McCarthy shot, we lost her. She told you she had a relationship with alcohol. It was the only thing that didn't let her down. She always knew when she drank, she'd feel no more pain. And you know what? She has no more pain, and she's looking down on us, and she's bringing me happiness every single day I think of her. The reason I wanted to do this today is because we all lose, but I have gained. I've had her in my life, and she helped me along the way to inspire to be better. When she passed, I promised I would be better, and I am getting better. I hurt, just like we all will hurt when we lose somebody that we love so dearly. But she taught me something very important, and I think this is the most important thing that I can tell you tonight. If you have a loved one that has gone down the wrong track, do not give up on them. Everybody says, hard love. We tried that. Hard love didn't work. What you need to do is find the proper help. And Stephen Morris is one of those guys that I feel if I had met him beforehand, she would still be on this planet, because he gets it. And so my lesson to you tonight is only this. And I say it a lot. Pete and I do this a lot, saying this. Pick this up right now. If you've been fighting with your mom, your dad, a friend, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, your dog, your cat, do yourself a favor. Because tomorrow you may not be able to do that. I can't. I would give anything to be here and have her on my show and talk and find out why. So from now until you go to bed, think of all the people that have touched your lives, whether they're family or not. There are so many people that have touched my lives, and I'm thanking you for being a part of it. From all the people on the beautiful comments that are coming on the right-hand side, I thank you. I only do this because I hope I can change one person's thought about somebody that may be an alcoholic or a drug addict. I want you to take those words out of your vocabulary. They're addicted for a purpose and for a reason. The reason is we yet have not been able to find out how to deal with the loneliness a person has, even though, like my sister, had thousands and thousands of friends, yet she could not, on the inner side, get rid of the loneliness. Once she lost her children, it tore her soul out. I don't have children, so I can't even imagine what it would be like. Right or wrong, my sister never killed anybody other than herself through her misuse of her alcohol and drugs. And yet the court system found a way not to allow her to see her children. So once again, I'm going to leave you with a very important message. We're here on the earth to do several things. The one thing is we must laugh. My sister and I laughed more than anybody. She was witty. She was funny. Even at the times that she was inebriated, she would be able to make me laugh. And even though I wanted to grab her and choke her many times, she found goodness in everything. And I was sitting in the hospital listening to her tell her stories about her life and what she did. And it's a tough thing to listen, but I had to hold it together for her. And once she passed, obviously as a broken brother, crying and trying to pull my stuff together, the nurse beside me says, "Don't be so hard on yourself." She brought this on herself. And I honestly wanted to say something, saying, "My goodness, you're in the healthcare profession. How can you even make that statement?" Nobody, no alcoholic, no drug addict, nobody that's addicted to anything wants to end their life the way my sister lost her life. She still had a lot to live for, two beautiful children. So many great friends like Donna McCarthy. So as we go through life, that person that's sitting on the edge of the street corner with a hat out, and you put a buck in there, a lot of people think I'm going to give him a buck. He's just going to go and drink it. But you know what? Maybe that person needs that for that particular moment. And it keeps them on this planet so that they can eventually get help. We need to give the help. We need to find the answers for those people that are too weak to be able to do it themselves. We, as the adults in the picture, we, the ones that are strong and able to communicate, are the ones that need to rise up and help those that can't help themselves. My sister could not help herself. She needed the professional world to help her. And I was not capable of doing that. I hold no regrets. I don't feel guilty. I had the greatest time with my sister. Yes, times were a little bit tough, but at the end of it all, she was the greatest sister. For she was imperfect, just like all of us. Her imperfect wisdom, her imperfect lifestyle were perfect for me. Karen Leslie McCarthy, gone way too young. I will not stop telling the world how beautiful you were, and we will learn from that. We will learn from her mistakes. We will learn the statement she had a relationship with alcohol. Let's understand that. How could a beautiful young lady have a relationship with alcohol and not her kids? How can she make the statement, alcohol was the only thing that didn't let her down? Millions of dollars spent in court trying to get her kids, and those kids still today do not know how hard my sister fought to have those children. Someday they'll know. In this basement of my house, I have all of their kids' articles. Everything they did in school, I have. And someday they will get it from me to know that their mother cared and loved. All right. On behalf of the memory of my sister, I want to make sure that you tonight do not take anything for granted. Please, please, please take time out. And even if you don't have somebody that you're arguing with or you're having trouble with and life is perfect, the next time you walk down that street and you see somebody that's suffering, even just say hello, recognize them. Don't be scared of them. Just recognize them. Look them in the eye and say hello. Ask them how they're doing. If you want, buy them a coffee, buy them a burger, And as Rob writes, you were amazing throughout the whole time with my sister. Without you, Darlene, also, you made my sister's life a beautiful life. Rob says this: all it takes is to give a little love. That's all it is. 2 years ago, I lost that with my sister. She's still here every single day. You have the chance to change that. All right, pick up a phone. Pick up a phone and call somebody tonight. If it's not tonight, call them tomorrow and just tell them how much you care, how much you love them, how important they are into your life. And if it's somebody that you're battling with, find a way to mend those differences. Hey, listen, Pete Bombachi is going to be back next Wednesday. We have some great guests coming up over the next few months, so please stick with me. As I mentioned to you, Don McCarthy is working on this incredible documentary. I will keep you posted. It will be a documentary that not only educates, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll wonder, you'll learn, but the most important thing, the memory of my sister will do us all good. On behalf of the Fired Up Network, of course, Wellness Wednesday, and the great people at Connected, I want to thank you for listening to me. I want to thank you that you gave me an opportunity to share with you a few minutes about my sister, both good and bad. Good night.